Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadyasya Yato Anvayaditaratascha Artheshu Abhigyaswarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavaye Muhyanti Yatsuraya Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Mrisha Dhamna Swena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi Nigamakalpataror Galitam Phalam Shukamukad Amrita Drava Sanyutam Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Muhuraho Rasika Bhuvi Bhavukaha. We now enter the 7th chapter of the 10th Skandha of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Shuka Brahma Rishi narrated the beautiful story of the liberation of Putana. So the amazing thing there is that the Lord is only days-old infant when this happened. So this is the mysterious opulence of the Supreme Being, that when He takes avatar, especially in the avatar of Krishna, when he comes as Swayam Bhagavan Narayana, he does the most unthinkable deeds. And the first of them is the deliverance of Putana when he was just days old. Now it continues. Before Shuka Brahma Rishi says anything, Parikshit asks a beautiful question. He is so moved by listening to the story of Putana. So he says, every single activity of the Lord through his avatars are all charming to the ear, pleasing to the mind. So please tell more, because just as listening to you, he says, Parikshit, as we know, has been waiting for this. He has listened to all the stories which are all beautiful. Every avatar of Bhagavan, Varaha avatar, Kapila avatar, Narsimha avatar, Vamana avatar, and Sri Rama, all the various avatars, he says every story is beautiful. He says, Yena avatarena Bhagavan Harir Ishvaraha Karoti Karna Ramyani Manogyani Chanaf Prabhohu. He says Karna Ramyani, the ears are pleased, Manogyani, the mind is also pleased in every avatar. So he says he tells Prabhu, that is, he says, O my Lord Shuka Brahma Rishi, you have narrated these stories of the Lord in all these avatars, and every single story has been pleasing to the ear. And now it is especially so because it is Krishna, Pandavas, and Parikshit, who is the grandson of Arjuna. They have such an intimate relationship with Krishna, and also Krishna is Swayam Narayana, and his pastimes are the most sweetest and nectarian. So he is asking Shuka Brahma Rishi to continue and says, please narrate any story of Sri Hari, because as you narrate, I notice that the mind is getting automatically still, it is getting automatically pure, devotion to Bhagavan is automatically coming, and a deep sense of kinship and friendship is felt with all his devotees. So this is the glory of 10th Skandha, which Parikshit is summarizing for us. The skandha is called Nirodha Skandha because it stops the mind. That is the most beautiful name for the skandha. It says that we are listening to just stories, but every story is so beautiful in its rasa, in its mood, that it simply stops the mind. And therefore, Parikshit says here, just by listening to it, the mind is purified, devotion is generated, and friendship and kinship with all the devotees. So when we listen to Yashoda, when we listen to Rohini, when we listen to Nanda, and when we listen to friends of Krishna, and then the beloved gopis of Krishna, we feel such closeness to every one of them, and we want to listen more about their glories as well, their love as well. So that's why Parikshit says here, Shuddhyati achirena pumsaha bhaktir harau tat purushecha sakyam tadeva haram. So he says, in Hari Bhakti comes sakyam, friendship and kinship comes towards all his devotees. Shuddhyati achirena, and instantly the mind is purified. Therefore he says, please recount more stories of baby Krishna, because right now we are in the infant Leela of Krishna. Even in Vraja Leela, that is the time that Krishna spends in Vraja, first are the Leelas done by him as an infant baby, then will be as a boy, and then will be as a young adolescent teenager before he goes to Mathura. So here he says, Ata Anyadapi Krishnasya Toka Charitam Adbhutam Manusham Lokam Asadya Tajjati Manu Rundhataha. He says he has taken this human form and now especially he's in this baby form and he's doing such marvelous deeds. Please tell more. So Shuka Brahma Rishi is very glad to oblige. So he continues, he says, he goes chronologically. So after the Putana episode, the next episode he says, Krishna turned around or he rolled over in the bed. So the baby normally rolls over in hardly a few months, depends on the baby, it may be 3 or 4 months. So it is said that Krishna rolls over in the bed, and this is celebrated as a big event. And it is done in many places even now. So one of the great things about the Vedic culture is when it comes to a baby, right from pregnancy, so when the mother is pregnant, there is a beautiful celebration done, which is a baby shower, but in a very auspicious way, with mantras being chanted and gifts being given. And then once the baby is born, there is the Utsava, Visa Nandotsava, the day the baby is born, as soon as the baby comes home. And then when the baby rolls over, there is a festival. And then when the baby turns one, there is a festival. So, and on and on. So, the beauty of this is having children is very wonderfully encouraged because of this culture. So, the whole process is that we have to, when we are living in householder life, having children makes parents live for the right purpose for which householder life is meant for, which is to continue the human race in a very auspicious way. So it is said that there are 3 debts everyone has, and one of them is towards our forefathers. So our forefathers, through an unbroken chain, have brought us here. So it is our duty to continue this chain by bringing forth children who can continue this lineage and also do it in a way that is beneficial for all of society. So that's why it is a party whenever a child is born in a very auspicious way. So the whole idea of having party, gathering, celebrating is something that Vedic culture is hugely promoting, but in a very auspicious way, not through any indulgence in food or in intoxication and so on, but in a very healthy way with music and with dance and with great food, healthy food, and with mantras being chanted and with friends gathering, all blessing the child born. So every event is celebrated like this. This is part of the Vedic culture. So that is what is done here. When Krishna rolls over, immediately there is a huge celebration. It is actually also the auspicious Rohini Nakshatra, the same constellation when Krishna was born. And therefore, all the Brahmanas are invited to offer benedictions and prayers. All the gopis come, all the cowherd men and women, the boys and girls, they all come. There is a huge celebrative atmosphere. And Yashoda, she is there. She is sprinkling sacred water on the baby, and there is playing of musical instruments and songs and so on. Sacred mantras are chanted. And after all this is done and Krishna has given a beautiful ablution, a wash, and blessings are invoked by the Brahmanas, gifts are given. After all that, she puts him to sleep. And once he is gone to sleep, she leaves him beneath a cart. So there is a cart, and this cart is filled with all kinds of gifts and so on. So this cart has uh, various milk products and grains and fruits and articles of various food items and garlands and so on. And beneath the cart, there is a small cradle where she is putting Krishna to sleep and goes. And when she does so, there is, as we said, loud music playing, mantras are being chanted, so she cannot hear him. And it is said that Krishna lets out a cry wanting milk and she doesn't hear it. And because she doesn't hear it, he kicks his foot on the cart. And as soon as he kicks his foot on the cart, with his tiny feet, which are tender like a leaf, Shuka Brahma Rishi says, the entire cart turns upside down and everything in the cart falls down. The metal jars and the milk and ghee and everything falls down. The wheels are upturned, the axle is inverted, the pole is shattered, everything is shattered, and everyone is bewildered. How is this happening? So, actually, what happens is there is a demon called Shakatasura, and the Shakatasura was actually a demon called Utkacha in the time of Hiranyaksha, and this Utkacha did some very nasty things to a rishi called Lomasha. So he actually went there and he disturbed him with his activities. And because of his disturbances, the rishi Lomasha cursed him that he'll be without a body, he'll remain as a ghost. So then he realized that he has made a big mistake. So he prays to the same rishi, please give me a way out. And so he says, you have to be a ghost till Krishna comes on earth. And when he comes, he will relieve you and he will liberate you. And so, meanwhile, this ghost form is what Kamsa is coming in contact with. So, Kamsa says to the Shakatasura as well, who was Utkacha, the demon ghost, he says, find any baby and kill them. Because that is his whole mission now, to kill all the babies born. So he has come here, he sees that there is a celebration going on. So he enters this cart through his ghost spirit enters this cart that is there above Krishna, and he wants to bring the cart down on him and crush Krishna. That is his intent. Of course, he doesn't remember his own benediction that he will be saved when Krishna comes and relieves him. All he knows is now he remembers is that he is a ghost, and his duty is to, his charge rather, is to kill Krishna according to his master Kamsa. So he is in the cart and he wants to crush the baby with all the goods in the cart so that the baby will be crushed. But of course, Krishna knows everything, and therefore, in the pretense of crying for milk, he gives a gentle kick to the cart, and the entire cart flips over, as we said. Everything in the cart falls down, and in the process, the ghost who is entrapped in the cart is also relieved and liberated. And of course, the ghost is not seen by anyone there, so nobody knows all this is happening except Krishna, because he is unseen. So the ghost who was hiding in the cart is liberated, but all that people see is the whole cart has fallen upside down. The milk and the ghee and the curds are all crushed and on the floor. The wheels are shattered, the pole is shattered, so everyone is shocked. The women and all the men and headed by Yashoda and Nanda, they all come running because they now hear this great sound, and then they see this unbelievable sight that the whole cart is upside down and Krishna remains there unaffected. And they are wondering, how did this happen? They are again worried that something might have happened to Krishna, and so they are lifting up Krishna because he is still, as we said, just a few months old. He has just rolled over. So, from their perspective, all they know is Krishna is a little baby, and they are thankful that the cart is not crushed Krishna. But then the boys that are there who are playing by the cart, they saw what happened. So they tell these cowherd men and women that no, 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 you don't know what happened. It is Krishna who kicked the cart. They said, all these boys say Krishna was crying for milk and then he just kicked his leg, and because he kicked, the whole cart fell down. So now the cowherd men and women, they think these boys are just out of their mind, because how is this even possible? This is a little baby and the cart has got so much stuff in it. It's so heavy. Nobody, it takes many men to even move the cart. So, but the boys, of course, they are young boys, they are playing and they know that they have seen what has happened. And so they speak what they have seen, the truth. And they don't even realize that it's so amazing because these are young kids. They say, this is what happened. Krishna kicked the cart and it fell down. But of course, the cowherd women and men headed by Yashoda and Nanda, they just think this is all boys' talk. These children don't know what they are talking about, and they just ignore them because they don't know the immeasurable strength of Krishna. So here, Shuka Brahman beautifully says, Nate Shraddhadhire Gopa Bala Bhashitam iti uta Aprameyam Balam Tasya Balakasya Nate Viduhu. So they say Bala Bhashitam iti uta. They think this is all child talk. These boys are just simply saying some things without any sense. This is childish pratter, because how can a baby push the whole cart? And they go away. And thereby, Shuka Brahma Rishi says, Aprameyam balam tasya balakasya nate viduhu. The immeasurable strength of this little baby, because he is the supreme lord of the universe who has taken this form. So Aprameyam is a beautiful word. It means immeasurable. The immeasurable strength of the Lord is unknown to these cowherd men and women headed by Nanda and Yashoda. And that is their mood of love. And that is the beauty of this. So then Yashoda immediately, again, she always thinks there is some evil spirit, and that is what made the cart fall down, and so fortunate that it didn't hurt my baby. So immediately she takes Krishna, puts him on her lap, and gives him milk from her breasts. And then she asks the Brahmanas to chant more. And then they are all chanting the various mantras. And then the Brahmanas are given more gifts in terms of grains and curds and all the rest. And then the boy is sprinkled with holy water again. Sacred texts of the Vedas are said. And Nanda feels very happy, because he is convinced always that any benedictions given by the truthful priests will be of great value. It never goes in vain. So this is the simple, beautiful faith of the cowherd men and women headed by Nanda. And this is the spirit of the villagers in Bharat, especially even now. They have this simple, beautiful faith that if they recite the right Vedic mantras with sincerity and with devotion, and they give whatever gifts they can give, then it is going to bring them good. And that indeed brings them good, because the whole place is filled with positive energy, and the people who get the gifts are all satisfied. They bless from their heart, from their full stomach and their full heart, and everybody is happy. So here it says beautifully, the ones who are free of any sense of envy, falsity, hypocrisy, pride, violence, such people, if they give benedictions, it never goes in vain. So he says here, Asuya, Anrata, Damba, Arsha, Himsa, Mana, Vivarjitaha, Natesham, Satyashilanam, Ashisho, Vipalakritaha. So the blessings, Ashisha, of the truthful ones, Satyashilaha, who are free of all these qualities. Vivarjita means free of envy, free of pride, free of ego, free of falsity and lying. So such people, if they give benedictions, then it never goes in vain. So this is the firm faith of Nanda, and this is the right spirit as well. And that is why when we have priests over, it is important that they are not simply doing it for the sake of money, and they are actually very sincere. And these qualities is what makes one a Brahmana. A Brahmana priest is one who is free of all these qualities, free of pride, free of ego, free of envy and jealousy, free of complaining about others, free of greed. And with such qualities, if they chant the Vedas, it is said they chanted Sama Veda, Yajur Veda, Rig Veda, and they uttered many benedictions, they gave many blessings, and such blessings always are heard by the quarters. And it is said that every aspect of the universe, because the whole universe is filled with the material energy of the one supreme being, and when it is filled with such positive vibration, that it immediately results in positive vibes and energy, and thereby the child is blessed and everyone is blessed. So this is the general spirit of how to live in a positive way, never complaining about anything, seeing gratefully whatever is there, seeing the cup as half full and not half empty, being grateful for what we have, being free of comparison, envy, and all the other qualities ourselves. And then whatever gifts we can give it very happily and generously. So this is the way to live, and Nanda is setting the example, the father, by doing all this for the sake of his son Krishna. Of course, Krishna doesn't need anything. Krishna is always perfect. But this is the beauty of Nanda, that he as a father, just like Yashoda the mother, they think they have to do all this for Krishna, and they do it with sincerity and love. And thereby They want the choicest blessings for Krishna. And of course, Shuka Brahma Rishi says that any benedictions uttered by the right Brahmanas and who are one with God, it always comes true. So he says, Vipra mantra vido yuktaha tairya proktas tata ashishah ta nishphala bhavishyanti na kadachidapi sputam. So again he re-emphasizes that the benedictions uttered by those who are abiding in God, who are therefore free of any negativities, it always comes true, and that is what Nanda is invoking here. So after this episode is over, a few days later, it is said that one day Yashoda was again keeping the little baby Krishna in her lap, and she was playing with him, and suddenly she noticed that his weight was increasing. It was a mysterious thing. She was wondering why his weight is increasing so much. It's just growing to the point where she couldn't hold him. He was becoming so heavy. It was mysterious. So instantly she put him down. And as soon as he put him down, just instinctively, because she couldn't handle the weight of Krishna on her own lap, which is a great wonder for her, she was astonished at this phenomenon, that how come this baby became so heavy. And she put him down, and as soon as he put him down, it is said a demon called Trnavrata, he came in the form of a whirlwind. Instantly the wind picked up. It became so fast, the wind was so ferocious, and it picked particles of dust and articles. It's almost like a tornado. It just came spinning, and when the wind came so fast and furious, nobody could see anything. Dust was flying everywhere, articles were flying around. People couldn't see anything, and this wind picked up this baby and went away. And the whole place was enveloped in darkness for an hour because the wind was so strong, it was blowing like crazy, and there was dust and darkness for an hour. Yashoda was in this darkness looking for Krishna because he was just there on her lap. He had to be put down, and instantly the wind picked up, and he is suddenly not there next to her. She cannot see anything. She's looking for Krishna. She's crying, Krishna, where are you? Krishna, Krishna, she's crying. And she became so worried because this wind is so powerful and the baby is missing. So she is certain that the baby has been, when articles are flying, what can a little baby do? So she thinks Krishna is taken away. So just like a cow cries when a calf has died, Yashoda falls down on the floor and cries. It says she's crying. Shuka Brahma Rishi says she's crying, and hearing her cry, every gopi there, every cowherd woman comes, and they are also flooded with tears because they immediately understand what has happened. The wind has abated, now things are clear, but they cannot find Krishna. Meanwhile, what has happened is this Trnavrata picked up Krishna and went. And after he picks up Krishna and he goes up in the sky for some distance, it is said that Krishna increased his weight slowly. So, what Krishna did was he became so light like a feather that he picked him up and he went. So, all of this is done so beautifully by Krishna. When Trinavrata is about to come, Krishna knows that this wind demon is coming. So he did not want him to snatch him along with Yashoda, because if he is on the lap of Yashoda and this Trinavrata comes, he will snatch both of them and lift. And so in order to make sure Yashoda is not affected, he became so heavy so that she drops him. As soon as she drops him, he becomes so light. He becomes so light like a feather that when he picks him up, he's so light. Then, after he picks him up and takes him up into the skies, he again becomes so heavy. So, this is the great potency of Krishna. So, in yoga, there are 8 siddhis, anima, mahima, and so on. It involves reducing one's weight, increasing one's weight, increasing one's size, going from one place to another. All these 8 yogic siddhis are there. And these Rakshasas, Putana also had siddhis, as we saw. She could fly, she could change her form, and so on. This Trnavrta is also a demon who has siddhis. But what they don't realize is the master of all yoga and the master of all siddhis is Krishna. So that is why when he tries to use his siddhis to carry Krishna, Krishna being the master of all siddhis knows exactly how to manipulate this Trnavrata. Krishna is Yogeshwara, he is the master of all yoga. In fact, in Bhagavad Gita, the last shloka of Bhagavad Gita says, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha, Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhotir Dhruvanitir Matir Mama. Where there is the Yogeshwar Krishna and Arjuna, it says there is only victory and prosperity and peace. But the main point is where there is Yogeshwar Krishna. So Krishna is referred to as Yogeshwar everywhere because he is the master of all yogas. Everything comes from him, of course. As we saw, the whole material energy, Prakriti, is the energy of the Supreme Being. And therefore, the entire material energy and the manipulation of it through yogic siddhis, which is what many yogis practice, and which is what some of these demons have as well. It is all nothing compared to what Krishna can do with the same yogic siddhis, because he is the master of all siddhis. So he plays like this. So he, being a little baby, he became so heavy. So Yashoda would drop him so that she is not affected. Then he became so light so that he would pick him up. And then after he picked him up and put him on his neck, immediately he started becoming very heavy again. Krishna became so heavy that this Trnavrata couldn't handle it. He became such a huge burden. So now, just as Putana did, he also tried to just take him out and throw him, because he is so heavy, this baby, that he now doesn't want him on him, but he is not able to. Again, Krishna just sticks to him like a glue, and he is becoming so heavy. He is heavier than this Trnavrata, and he just, in a very sweet way, holds his throat. So instantly Krishna goes for the jugular by just being this little baby but so heavy, so immovable, stuck to his neck, and holds his throat and starts squeezing his throat. And when he starts squeezing his throat, this Trnavrata starts letting out a groan. He is not able to handle this, and his eyes start popping out of his sockets. He starts screaming. He is unable to do anything, and finally, exactly as Putana had to do, this Trnavrata falls down from the skies like a huge giant tree falls down. And in fact, it says just like the city of Tripura was shot down by Rudra. So there is the story we saw in the 7th Skandha, where there is a demon called Maya who built a city called Tripura, and Rudra or Shiva, with the help of Krishna, he shot an arrow and brought down Tripura. That's why Shiva is called as Tripurari. So just as Tripura is brought down by Rudra, it is said this demon was brought down and he fell down to the floor. Immediately, they all run, and again they see Krishna just playing on his chest and just very innocently crawling on his chest. And they run immediately and pick him up, and then they felt excessive joy to see that this baby is absolutely unaffected, and they feel like he is saved from the jaws of death. So the beauty of this is, it is said that these, first of all, as we already said, Yashoda and Nanda and the gopis and the gopas, that is the cowherd men and women, they are always fearing for the protection of Krishna in this mode of being parents and caretakers. And the second thing is their joy is increased every time. This is every pastime of Krishna has so many levels at which he engages and gives benediction. So Trnavrata is liberated. We saw Shakatasura was liberated from the cart. Now Trnavrata is liberated, being the being given the opportunity to hold Krishna. Thereby he is liberated. Meanwhile, Yashoda, as we saw, she fainted thinking Krishna has died. So this is her innocence. And now he has come back. So we can imagine the amount of joy. So he is giving so much joy to Yashoda and Nanda, because if he is simply there, that's already so much joy. But if they feel like they have lost him and they have gained him, their joy is unbounded. It is beyond imagination. So it's said that they are so filled with joy because they feel like they got him back from death, because they thought they couldn't find him for 1 hour. There was this wind howling and everything is flying. The baby is not there, and this there is This has been taken up in the sky and nobody knows where he is. They all thought they lost the baby. And so we can only imagine the joy that Yashoda and Nanda and all the cowherd men and women have when they see him back. So he is increasing the joy of everyone. That is why he is called as Yashoda Nandana. He increases the joy of Yashoda every moment, increases the joy of Nanda, and so on. And so Nanda is so happy, Yashoda is happy, and so they all tell themselves, whatever austerities we have done long time back, whatever prayers we have offered to Lord Vishnu, whatever charities we have done, this has saved this boy. They say with such beautiful innocence, Vishnu is here as Krishna, but again they say that we have somehow, whatever we have done way back, it has somehow saved Krishna, this baby, and so they are so happy, and they are with such tears of joy taking Krishna back home. So in this way, it is said that Nanda and all the other cowherd men, they were also thanking Vasudeva, because Vasudeva had told them, he had prophesied that there will be a lot of calamity. So they say, Vasudeva is so right, he is so wise, we have to be very careful. They tell all this to themselves and they go. So that's how Trnavrta is delivered, through the beautiful yogic mystical powers of Krishna. And then finally, there is a beautiful incident that Shuka Brahmarishi describes. It's so, again, wonderful to read about it, to listen to it. It is said that Yashoda one day picks up Krishna, and she is overflowing with milk out of love, and she takes him on her lap and she gives him milk. And this baby, of course, he is so happy to drink milk. Krishna drinks milk, and then after drinking milk, he very nicely lets out a nice yawn. He opens his mouth. And Yashoda looks at the mouth of Krishna as he yawns right there in his lap, in her lap. And instantly she sees in his mouth, she sees the sky, the horizon, the stars, the sun, the moon, the fire, air, oceans, mountains, rivers, forests, all being. So she is instantly, for a split second, given Vishwarupa Darshanam. Vishwarupa means the universal cosmic form. She is given the cosmic form, the vision of the cosmic form, the Virat Rupa in his mouth. So just simply this baby is sitting and yawning, opening the mouth, and in closing the mouth. In that one split second when he opened the mouth, she is blessed with this vision that she couldn't believe her eyes. It says, Kam Rodasi Jyotir Anika Masha Surya Indu Agni Shwasa Ambudishcha. So everything, the sun, the moon, the stars, the skies, the mountains, forests, everything is seen. Sthira, Jangamani, the moving creatures, immoving creatures, everything is seen in his mouth for just that split second. She is seized with like a tremor, because she sees the whole universe within him, and now he is just sleeping. It was just a split second. He closed his mouth, closed his eyes, and he went to sleep. Yashoda just looks at it and says, What is this baby? I don't understand. And again, because of Yoga Maya, the beautiful energy of the Lord who organizes all these pastimes, Yashoda also forgets it. So this is the beauty of Yashoda, that she doesn't ever think of Krishna as the supreme being, but only as her baby. So even when she is given this benediction, it is only for a split second. She is in great astonishment and amazement. And then the next second it is gone. And she says, I don't know what I saw, but I can only see my little baby here. And then she says, I have no idea what happened. And she instantly forgets it. And all she wants to do is take care of the baby Krishna. And that is how she is always in this mood of maternal, parental, Vatsalya affection. So with this beautiful chapter of Vraja Leela ends. Every chapter of Vraja Leela, as we can see, such sweetness, as Parikshit said very beautifully in the beginning, it increases not only our love for Krishna, but also our love for Yashoda, for Nanda, for all the various companions of Krishna. The sweetness of their love, which even a small portion of that love in our heart, as Parikshit says, will purify us and automatically bring about love and devotion and kinship towards all. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.